Ever felt your heart race having a tough conversation with a client? You are not alone. But what if I told you those moments can make or break your business long term? Difficult conversations with clients are often avoided, leading to escalating misunderstandings, strained relationships, and lost deals. Most professionals struggles because they don't have a clear framework for managing these situations effectively. In this video, I'm going to share some simple, actionable strategies on how to handle client conflicts with clarity, confidence, and professionalism. You'll learn how to approach these conversations as opportunities to strengthen your brand and maintain control over your projects. It's not about avoiding the tough talks, it's about mastering them. Avoidance is a silent business killer. The most successful professionals know how and when to address the elephant in the rooms head on. So the very first tip, start with clarity. And let me explain that to you using a live case study. A couple of years ago, I was on an anniversary trip with my wife, got a phone call from a team member and said that the agent representing the buyer indicated they were not going to close. It was a multi-million-dollar file. And to me, that was not an option with one of my favorite clients. So I picked up the phone. I actually called the buyer agent myself and I said, not closing is not an option. And let's get clear about what happens next. So then I proceeded to explain to him that he was now an anticipatory breach because they had indicated they weren't going to close on the file. If they didn't close, we could keep the deposit, sue them for the difference of anything that we sell it for less than what we agreed to, and damages based off of the decisions my client made on his client's firm contract. But good news sandwich, we will find a solution. We have great people in the lending space. And yes, we're in a roller coaster of a real estate market, but let's find a solution. That deal ended up closing. We got it done. And the relationship stayed solid with the agent and all parties involved. Now, had I reacted poorly, picked up the phone, started screaming at that other agent and closed that door, potentially that deal wouldn't have closed and my client wouldn't have got the result that he wanted. So whatever your difficult conversation, ask yourself, how can I open this up by providing bridges instead of burning them? The second tip would be listen and don't react. Far too often people overcompensate when they don't have all the information. So maybe rather than reacting and letting your heart and mouth get the better of you, listen to what the person is actually saying. Now, actively listen. Don't start preparing your response in your head and think you have all the answers. Listen to the words that they're saying and ask questions to try and get as much information as possible. Also, as you're listening, I find repeating those points back to the people to make sure that your interpretation of them is accurate is critical, and take as many notes as you can. I find that if you actively listen, you'll be able to step back, strategize with your client and your team, and then re-enter the tense situation with potentially some solutions you would not have had if you didn't have that information. Number three, frame the conversation around solutions. Instead of saying, we can't do that, say, here's what we can do. Lead with empathy. A lot of times when my team comes to me with a question, I tell them, bring me 3 solutions of which solution you think is the one we should apply. Quite often that reduces a lot of the questions that they bring to me in the first place. But regardless, if you have 3 potential solutions and you table it in a difficult situation, a lot of times when you're bringing solutions to the table, that's where real relationships are built. If you are truly in it with your partners and your clients, you'll find it actually brings you closer together having tough conversations than it would if you just shut the wall and drew a line in the sand. Number 4, own the outcome. One of my favorite things to do every year is list every transaction that I did, rate them 1 out of 10, 7 not being an option. And I look at the 1s and 2s and I think of, are these clients I ever want to work with again? Or that type of client? Reason being, the 8s and 9s and 10s are probably people that I would work with for free, didn't even feel like work. And I'm probably really good at doing those types of transactions. When I look at the 4, 5s, and 6s, I think, is there something I could have done better to have turned them into an 8, 9, or 10? Or are they truly a 1, 2, or 3? I'm not rating people based on what number caliber they are. I'm trying to take ownership of how I'm doing my job and what I can improve on for next year to turn everybody into my 8s, 9s, and 10s. Yes, sometimes you have to do the work you don't want to do to earn the shots at the 8s, 9s, and 10s, but sometimes you're the reason why the work isn't getting done to the quality that you want it. I also think if you enter any type of difficult situation, owning your part in the process and putting that out front will make the other person do the same thing, and they will lead with vulnerability as well. And then you both own the situation together, again, trying to get towards a solution. When you start playing the blame game and it's everybody's fault but yourself, you might want to think twice about how you're approaching these types of situations. And number 5, know when to walk away. I've had multiple clients that have been disrespectful to my staff members. Communication was not on par with what my expectations would be. Some clients want service. Some people want outcomes. Some people want the person that's going to do it for the cheapest. What I have gotten clear on over the years is who I am for and who I am not for. I can tell you that this brokerage that we run is based around people that give more than they take. People that are greedy, self-serving, and secretive do not belong here. But guess what? There's brokerages out there that are just that. And I think you need to find alignment with your team, your clients, and your ecosystem. You will be much, much happier. So question for you, which of these strategies have you used? And I'd love to hear a case study in the comments, or are you going to use in your next difficult conversation? Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.